Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something that's, well, both fascinating and maybe a little unsettling. It's this idea of AI feeling conscious. We've looked at the research, some articles, our notes, and we really want to unpack this illusion. Figure out why it seems so real and, crucially, why understanding the difference matters for you.
It's a really timely topic. So many people are having this experience of a felt mind. There was a study just this year, 2024, showing that something like 2/3 of people thought a top chatbot could actually reason, feel,
Yeah.
even be self-aware.
2/3.
Yeah. And it points to this fundamental category boundary problem. We're mixing up a tool, a very sophisticated one, mind you, with a mind. Think about a calculator. We admire it, but we know it's not thinking. AI is just a much more complex version of that boundary issue.
That's a great way to put it. So, okay, if it is just a tool, what's the actual line? What does a real mind possess that AI, for all its mimicry, fundamentally lacks?
Right. Well, there are a couple of key things. First, true consciousness seems to need this stable, persistent sense of self, an ongoing identity, autobiographical memory. AI doesn't have that continuity. Each chat is basically stateless. It's not building a self over time.
So no inner life story accumulating.
Exactly. And second, there's what philosophers call phenomenological awareness, that subjective first-person experience, the feeling of redness or the sting of sadness. AI might say it understands empathy, but it doesn't feel it. There's no internal theater, no qualia. It's all simulation of the outward signs.
The simulation is just incredibly good, though. How does it pull that off? How does statistics and code create something that feels so intentional?
A lot of it traces back to the transformer architecture. You've probably heard of it, and specifically its attention mechanisms. These let the AI look at your whole prompt, all the words together, and figure out context relationships, producing really coherent text.
Okay, so it's good at context.
Extremely good. But the core, the sort of engine underneath, involves latent vector embeddings. It's a bit technical, but think of it like this. Words and concepts get mapped onto a kind of high-dimensional geometric grid, like coordinates, things with similar meanings. They're closer together on this map.
Ah, like king and queen would be neighbors, sort of.
Precisely. Or sad and unhappy. The AI navigates the space using statistics. It finds probable paths, likely word sequences. It's pattern matching on a massive scale. It looks like understanding. It feels like reason, but it's more like a very convincing parlor trick of reason.
A parlor trick. Okay, but if it is a trick, why are we humans so easily fooled? Why do we want to see a mind there?
That gets into our own psychology, really. We seem to have this built-in tendency, sometimes called the hyperactive agency detection device, or HADD. Yeah, it's likely an evolutionary thing. Better to assume that Russell in the bushes is a predator than to ignore it. So we're primed to see intention, agency, even with minimal evidence. And AI's output, it's so agency-shaped. It uses language like us, it mirrors our tone, sometimes even expresses emotions. It just pushes all the right buttons for our HADD.
So we're kind of wired to anthropomorphize it.
Pretty much. We project agency onto it because its behavior looks so much like ours.
Which leads to real-world consequences, right? What happens when we treat these advanced tools like actual agents?
The impacts are significant. One big area is algorithmic bias. Because AI learns from vast amounts of human-generated data, it inevitably picks up our historical biases. The COMPAS dataset is a classic example, used in the US for predicting recidivism risk.
Right, I've heard of that.
It showed a clear racial bias. It was incorrectly flagging Black defendants as higher risk much more often than white defendants with similar profiles. The AI wasn't racist, but it learned patterns reflecting systemic biases in the justice system data it was fed.
So it amplifies existing societal problems.
It can, yes. And this ties into another issue, the right to explanation. Regulations like GDPR in Europe or the EU AI Act say people deserve an explanation for decisions made about them by AI. But deep learning models, these transformers, they're incredibly complex, often called black boxes. Getting a truly meaningful step-by-step explanation out of them is technically very, very difficult. It creates this compliance paradox.
Okay, so the illusion is getting better, more convincing, and the implications are huge. How do we, handle this going forward as these mechanical ghosts become more common?
I think it comes down to what you might call cognitive hygiene. For you, the listener, it means staying critical. Really practice distinguishing coherence, fluent language from actual comprehension or consciousness. Adopt a firm tool, not agent mindset. Appreciate the capability, but don't mistake it for personhood.
And for the people building and regulating this.
For them, maybe focus less on forcing perfect explainability from black boxes, which might be impossible, and more on rigorous impact assessment. Testing for bias, ensuring fairness in outcomes, and definitely truth in labeling. Be clear about what these systems are and what they aren't.
Right. So we need to learn to admire the performance, this incredible technological feat, without getting tricked into thinking there's a conscious performer behind the curtain. Lots to think about there. What's the one thing that really stands out to you from this deep dive today?